Welcome in the latest episode of the Need for Speed's College Basketball Podcast. We are 7-1 entering the second round after an incredible 88% start to the NCAA tournament. Big East Ben is live, our Vegas correspondent for this first round. Still there, still out there, still heads very much above water after he had a great first round. Tell us a little bit where you've been. Have you changed locations? What's been going on out there in the desert?
Still at the MGM Grand. So unfortunately, this is my last day here. I will be taking the 12:30 a.m. flight back and be watching the games on my house on Sunday. Yesterday was amazing. Posted up at the Strat. Great experience, theater type viewing experience. They were raffling off signed jerseys. So they had like an Adrian Dantley jersey, a Jahlil Okafor signed Duke jersey, Steve Francis signed Maryland jersey,
Damn.
and the belle of the ball, and Alex Caravan signed UConn jersey.
Yeah.
So I went up to the women working the booth, and I said, "Hey, what's it going to take for you to freeze my ticket so I get the Alex Caravan jersey?" She's like, "Well, a lot of people have been winning these and, auctioning off. So whoever wins it, we can let them know there's interest." And I'm like, let them know, because I would pay upwards of $12 for that jersey.
And her response
Um,
was, "Nice. We're actually charging 11.99 for it."
but yeah, great day. Marquette 84 is entering the room. Um, yeah, I mean, Akron went down, but we hit on Iowa. You hit on what were your two hits yesterday?
Two hits yesterday were late ones. Furman,
The
who,
Dins.
all Dins. Honestly, I think they still could have won that game. Which we'll get to a little bit as we talk about Sunday advancements and such of that nature. But the Dins got us there, which is, I thought, a very nice effort by them. And then also Utah State, which was very
Right.
nerve-wracking. Plus that Kentucky start to the day was absolutely insane. Um, wow. But, we'll get to that game in a little bit because we got a bunch of games to talk about. I've been tracking lines since they were posted, and we'll start on Sunday as we're recording this between the early games on Saturday afternoon. And I guess I'm going to go to a bar again, though I don't even know if I could stand the look at alcohol at this point. Hey, Marquette84, welcome into the chat. Let's go to Louisville, Michigan. No, that's about to start. What are we talking about? We're going to Sunday. That's what we're doing here. Miami, Florida is the opener. That was another winner of mine last night, which closed the night out fairly well for me. Miami, Florida, 7.5 point underdogs to Purdue right now. So really quick turnaround from them, from like the latest game possible to the earliest one in St. Louis, which I don't really love. Total in this one is 147. In terms of where this number has been and where it is now, it was 7.5. We're at 7.5 now, and it was a beautiful 7.5 this morning. What do we got?
So I'll admit I did not watch the Miami Missouri game. Me and this guy for the late slate, we were on the tables, went on a nice little run on blackjack, but I see also the under in Miami, Missouri just squeaked in there, so happy to get that hit. Um, Look, Purdue looked really good against a coach trying to be Greg Campy, Diet Greg Campy with his Christmas sweater. But still, Purdue looked amazing. Braden Smith, that's all-time Big Ten record. And look, man, favorites have been rolling in this tournament. Like it's tough to have a lot of confidence in dogs at this point. 7.5 does seem steep for a competent team like Miami, but they really have not beat anybody this season outside of their weight class. They beat the teams that are on the same level. They pummel the teams that are below the same level, but they have not been successful really this year punching up, except maybe the Louisville ACC tournament where Louisville did Mikael Brown. So I'm going to back Purdue here. I have just too much faith in favorites right now.
Yeah, it's not really a great tournament for me with all the underdogs losing. But, some of them have gotten through the door and some in wild fashion as well. Um, Miami, so I did watch the game very closely last night, as them and Furman were kind of on really nice, like alternating commercial break type of moments, which was really, really ideal for me. But what Miami did is they took a really big lead against a Missouri team that probably didn't deserve to be in the tournament, but had a few good wins, all on their home floor, it seemed to me, including Florida, which I can't really explain that one. But then Mizzou came back, basically got within one at halftime, and I was like, "Oh my God, Miami's gonna have to go win this game all over again." And a lot of it they did was offensive rebounding and kind of, I don't know if I'd say fluky things, but then it felt like Missouri every time they made a run, get back in the game was a couple bad Miami turnovers or just bad plays. My concern for this matchup is Miami is very okay with their opponent shooting threes, and that is a very scary setup against a Purdue team that's just going to launch all day long. When Trakoff and Ren's not shooting inside, it's going to be Foster Lawyer or Fletcher Lawyer, and then Braden Smith, as you mentioned, and the rest of them. And honestly, I really like what I've seen from CJ Cox as well this season. I think he's a really good kind of other option. Just 7.5 is a lot for a Miami team that's going to go inside and try to score the ball. Malik Renew, who I think can score at will against Trakoff and Ren. He knows them very well from playing at Indiana. So I'll take Miami plus 7.5. From the outskirts, Marquette 84. Do you have anything you want to add on that?
Yeah, despite the fact that Matt Painter spent a ton of time responding to a reporter's question about not scheduling mid-majors last night, he should have probably been working on film. I'm going to pick Purdue because one reason, guards win in college basketball. You've got a senior backcourt there. They're hungry. No doubt, take Purdue, give up those points to Miami.
Yeah, I was really impressed. Trey Donaldson, I think, was awesome last night. He's a big reason, a lot of momentum, late shot clock threes. We'll see if he makes those again. But there's one thing about being a senior late in backcourt and one that you just can't go to the NBA, so you're going to stay forever and ever and ever in the same school. But we'll see if that turns into talent or discrepancies or whatever that could be. Moving next to another standalone game as we go to Iowa State. They are 5-point favorites, and that is the second game of the day. They're against Kentucky in St. Louis. Totals 145.5. What do we got?
So yeah, I mean, it's been such a long weekend. I woke up, I was in bed looking at the lines for tomorrow, and I'm like, holy shit, that's short. And then I'm like, oh yeah, Joshua Jefferson. What was did we get a diagnosis back on that? Is that torn Achilles, ACL?
All I know is every time he put his toe, not even his foot, but just his toe on the ground while he was over the arms of two assistants, it seemed like a trainer and somebody else, he was like what looked like to me screaming, wincing, crying all at the same time. And so that didn't seem great. And of all players that could have happened to on that team, he might be the most important. So I don't know if I'm like a big time injury believer. Generally, I feel like it's overvalued and overrated in the marketplace. But that might be other than Tatum and Lipsy, I don't know who they could have been impacted worse by a loss of. But then on the other side, you get Kentucky, who, I mean, literally led and just couldn't pull away from a WCC team for 35 minutes. And then all of a sudden we're losing at the end and had to bank in a shot from almost half court and a bunch of other things as well. Market 84, what was your takeaway of Otega Owe yesterday?
Well, I like the Cyclones. I know about the injury issue, but sometimes that actually can work the other way and motivate his teammates, as we saw in that game after he went out. I've got to go with the Cyclones.
So my issue with that, yes, motivation is nice, but I don't know how much more motivated you can be. Yes, there's maybe opportunity for teammates that could certainly happen, and Kentucky has its flaws. I just don't know how Iowa State's going to figure out how to play without this guy in a day. So yeah, Kentucky might have to figure out how to game plan for him, but I feel like it's worse for the team that's also a 5-point favorite. So I'll take Kentucky. Total's 145.5.
Look, I know Otega Owe. Otega Owe is the guy who is tweeting out his highlights and hawking his merch after they lost at home to Missouri. Imagine what he is doing the days after hitting the most unbelievable shot of the tournament. This Kentucky team is selfish. This Kentucky team does not like one another. This coach does not like his team. And yes, Jefferson is a huge loss, but hey, Iowa State, 3-point shooting team. They force turnovers. Kentucky is weak with the ball. Kentucky does not defend the arc very well. I'm backing the Cyclones in this one as well.
Dang. Looks like it's in the water. And just actually, surprisingly, Otega Owe has not tweeted in a very long time. We'll move next to St. John's and Kansas. Currently, the Johnnies are 3.5-point favorites after shellacking what I thought was going to be a pretty comparable team yesterday in Northern Iowa, but that was not the case. 3.5-point favorites of the Johnnies, totals 144.5. This one is being played, I'll get that for you, in San Diego. Nice little 2:15 start in San Diego. Brilliant scheduling.
Yeah, I knew our Northern Iowa bet was dead on maybe the
When it
second.
was 12-0?
No, even earlier. I think it was the second possession, and St. John's missed the shot, and Northern Iowa decided to run a fast break and throw an alley-oop, and two guys went for it at the same time and crashed into each other.
And one guy was hanging on the rim, and the other one was like, what are we doing here?
What are they doing? We are screwed. And then Kansas seemed like they took care of Cal Baptist. They did not get the cover. What happened at the end of that game? Kansas was up
I
Darren
thought they were up
just give
big
up?
forever. I was like, damn, I had no idea how golden this team they were playing was. And then all of a sudden I look up and they won by 8. And I was like, how did that happen?
Yeah. So this is, all-time coaching matchup, Pitino versus Self in the tournament. Kansas has been very bad in the round of 32 games for the last 3 tournaments. They do not show up against elite competition in the tournament. St. John's is playing their best basketball this season right now. Big East champions, destroy Northern Iowa. Just so deep. I don't know. I mean, if anybody can hang with Zuby Ejiofor, it's Flory Badunga. But I just think the rest of St. John's is just clicking on all cylinders. I'm going to back Pitino here.
Marquette 84, do you have anything that you'd like to say about Bill Self and his hair?
I'm not a big Bill Self fan.
You just want him to get a grip and just go bald as beautiful like you?
It wouldn't hurt him. I think it'd be a great image. It might toughen up his team, which is somewhat soft.
They could use that.
I will say this. Moments ago, I talked about the importance of a senior-heavy backcourt in college basketball. The next thing is a defensive presence. And I am really impressed with St. John's defense. Pitino has always been a defense-first coach. I like that against what I perceive to be a very weak, fragile Kansas team. So give me the Johnnies.
Yeah, I feel like seeing a 5 seed favor of 4, not a big surprise, but 3.5 is kind of a lot in this type of matchup. So I'm waiting to see if this falls to 3. I'll back the Johnnies as well. All 3 of us going Ricky P. We'll next move to Tennessee and Virginia. Another interesting spread versus seed situation. Virginia somewhat struggled with Wright State in the opener. Tennessee did not get off to a good start and then somehow housed Miami, Ohio. And Nate Ament, who's on our individual player points team, scored as many points as Big East Ben, Marquette 84, and the real underscore G Warner all in the same day. So I don't know how that happened. Jacoby Gillespie dropped 29 or something to make it a little bit better for us. I had some teammates looking at me like, what the hell's your problem? I was like, I swear he's a lottery pick. Tennessee 1-point favorite. Total is 137 right now. And what do we think about? I guess let's start with Virginia. I have not really believed in them all season. Big East Ben, where are you at with the Who's?
I'm not a big believer either. I mean, Chance Mallory's okay. I like Jakari White coming off the bench. The Ritter guy can't really shoot, but he thinks he can shoot, I feel like.
That's the worst kind.
Yeah, so all back. Look, Virginia's big MO is they get offensive rebounds and they shoot the 3-ball well. Tennessee is 17th in the country in 3-point defense. They're actually only 58th in the country in defensive rebounding, but they were second in the SEC in defensive rebounding. Um, so I think this will be, a low scoring, grinded out game. The total might be a little too low for me, but I'm going to trust Tennessee, Jacoby Gillespie in a tight game in this over this Virginia team where a lot of guys have not been here before.
Marquette 84.
Yeah, I don't have much on these two squads, so I'm going to resort again now to the third thing that I look at in postseason play, that senior heavy backcourt, a defense first team. And with this situation, I've got to look at warmups. And I think a team that has old school vertical stripe pants like the Hoosiers, we got Tennessee with the orange ones. I've got to go with that. And I apologize. I just don't know much about either one of these squads.
Well, I can tell Marquette 84 is not eating today because he's only thinking about creamsicles at this point. I'll also take Tennessee -1, and we'll move. Nope, that's an NIT game. Nope, that's another NIT game. We'll move to the next NCAA tournament game because those do exist. Total is 145, and this is Iowa against Florida. Iowa 10-point underdogs. I'm still kicking myself for not playing them against Clemson. I still don't know why I didn't do it. But we've seen a number drop from 10.5 to 10. What do we got on? Were you impressed by Iowa? I mean, they basically held Clemson at arm's length, but they were down a starter and their biggest player for which we talked at length about, and I think it was a big reason that you played Iowa in that opener.
Yeah, and like Clemson was just so undisciplined on defense. Like Iowa got so many points from the foul line to hold on in that second half. That like they went through, I think like a 5 or 6 minute stretch with no field goals, but they went like 10 of 10 from the line in the
I mean,
same
that's
stretch.
that's my concern with Iowa is that not only do they just completely reject the idea of a fast break, which is absolutely insane, but then they also have Bennett Sturts, and I'm not sure what else.
Yeah, dude, and Cam Manawahu, whatever the Drake
Good
transfer.
luck. I don't even
He's
know.
6'9", but he does not look 6'9". Like he looks 6'6", 6'7". Awful foul shooter as well. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, I don't like this spread is so low, and just seeing what Michigan just did to St. Louis, which I thought was going to be a much tighter game. Um, I just think Hawk, Goden, Chinle, are just going to absolutely dominate inside. And Iowa actually fouls a decent amount, and they are not deep. And I think, unfortunately, Todd Golden just runs away with this one.
Uh, Marquette 84. Can you explain the 6-7 phenomenon?
You can't.
We'll move on to the next one. Do you have a pick on this game? Iowa +10, totals 145.
Because I didn't have breakfast.
No, it's a
He's
Gen
still
Z
thinking
thing.
about creamsicles. I know it.
All right. Florida runaway.
Okay.
I'm still upset with Iowa getting rid of what was it, White Lightning, White Magic, Fran McCaffrey.
Graham McCaffrey.
Frank
What's his name?
Frank
White
Licklider.
Magic.
White Magic. His playing days at Penn. Go with
Nice.
Florida all the way, no doubt. No brainer.
Yeah. They I feel like Florida were just being rude yesterday. I mean, I think it was like a 60-point game at one point, and I was like, Todd's just trying to rub this in on Big East Ben. I'll go under 145 because I think Iowa knows they have very little chance to win this game in high pace, fast court, fast break, all that sort of stuff. And they don't even like to do it themselves. So I think they do everything they can to grind this one out. Like I'm shooting like with 10 or so left to go on the shot clock from the start, just running the clock the whole time to see if they can hang in it. We'll move next to one of the wilder swings of yesterday, and that was not the game I'm looking. Yes, it is actually. So Utah State, they're currently 12-point underdogs to this little old Arizona team that I feel like everyone has picked to win the title. Totals 155 in this one. Arizona, I mean, they were okay, but they seem to always just be okay.
They were okay. What
I feel like Arizona
against Fins Up?
they just I mean, I'm just never really that impressed, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, what I liked a lot, and Utah State, that was a great comeback down 10 against Nova. What I love with the Utah State action is it's a lot of drive, and then you have the 5 out, the forward cut in from the 3-point line, and Drake Allen will dump it off the fall 7. He'll get an easy layup down there, and they're running that to perfection against weak ass Duke Brennan and whoever else is in the Villanova front court. That is not going to be available against Arizona.
Oh no!
And
Oh no! Because they're basically built all like the Great Walls of China, except I guess they're from Lithuania and other places.
And I mean, number one 2-point defense in the Big 12, also the number one 3-point defense in the Big 12, also the number one at not fouling in the Big 12, also number one defensive rebounding team in the Big 12. I don't see a path here for Utah State unless they get super hot from 3 to stay in this. They shoot just 36% on the season. That's good for 141st in the country. I don't think that cuts it against Arizona. I'm going to go Wildcats in this one. I hate being, squares with all these favorites, but that's really what the trend is looking like.
Market 84. Is the trend your friend?
What's the point spread? 12?
12. Total's 155.
Yeah, you know what? Utah State impresses me. I would take Utah State with those points.
I think it's enough. I mean, we saw it today with St. Louis. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it. I don't think you can watch it on delay, though, so I think we're all good. The 12 looked big for a while for SLU today, and then looked very, very small very quickly. And that's my concern with Utah State. I mean, that comeback is not going to be available to them in the next round like they had against Villanova. I think there was... I mean, I was watching it pretty closely, and what seemed to me is great players in the second half against San Diego State in the Mountain West Championship and against Nevada the round before that really didn't look any good against Villanova, and that's the scary part to me, though I think the points are too much, so I'll take 12. Move next to more NIT games coming up. UCLA and UConn, and this is probably one of the more interesting games, I think, just based on Furman, I thought looked very, very ripe for an upset, and I have not felt that great about many 20.5-point underdogs closing 21, about being competitive and potentially winning. Fortunately, anyone who did sprinkle that money line, that's why we sprinkle it and we don't do more than that. But UCLA currently 5-point underdogs to UConn, and the total is 136 in this matchup. So, what do we got, Marquette 84? We'll start with you on this one since you're the Big East resident.
Do you have any intelligence on the injured UConn players?
Well, Demary was ruled out late, which my group chat was very thankful for and thought I had really inside sources. I was like, yeah, hit up at Big East Ben on Twitter. He knew.
Yeah, and
was that a surprise? Because I don't remember hearing an injury report right there.
I was surprised. It came out of nowhere from Doster, and UConn is like, I'm watching the game. UConn has some guy named Millender playing for them, and I'm like, who the hell is Millender?
So is the guard out?
I mean, if he's out for the opener against a 15 seed, I guess you could argue that they're just saving him because they didn't think he needed him. But sheesh, that was a scary, scary game for them, I thought. And Danny was looking really, really, really concerned early in that game. Every time I stared at him.
Wow. So the spread is 5.
Yep.
I because of the uncertainty with UConn's roster, I think I'd take UCLA with those points.
Big East Ben?
UConn, one of the worst team in the field against the spread in the tournament.
It didn't help last night, baby.
They were actually talking about it on ESPN. I'm like, you guys stole my segment. Very funny experience sitting at the blackjack table last night. A guy sits down on my right. And I'm like, hey, how's it going? He's like, 18-year-old kids can't hit their fucking free throws. I'm like, oh, you were on UCLA -6 like me, weren't you? He's like, yep, $2,500 swing.
I know that.
Just getting the injury news. I'm interested in the under in this game. I think it will be just a very deliberate chess match against Cronin and Hurley, a physical game, a slog of a game. I'm going to go under 147. You had it at?
I had a beautiful number of 136 and a half.
Sorry, 130 to 37. I will go under 137.
There we go. 136 and a half is what we have. I'm taking UCLA plus 5. I love Mick Cronin, and I'll admit that to all the people out here. And thank you to all the people listening, betting the pitch, Apple Podcasts, and on Spotify at the real_G Warner on YouTube and on Instagram. Did get a reel out today. Didn't do it. Tried really hard yesterday, but I was like staring at the sun, and I was basically going blind. And I was like, I just don't have this in me right now. And at Big East Ben on Twitter at Marquette84 for his guest appearances. I don't know that I think UCLA will win this game, but I think UConn horrible against the spread. I'm looking for ways to take them out of this tournament. I thought Furman was going to be really, really close for a while to doing that. Yeah, it kind of got a little bit gnarly, and Terrace Reed literally had a field day. I think he had like 30 and 30 at one point, or it looked like he was trending toward that direction. But I'll take UCLA plus 5. I think they get it done.
I'm changing my bet. I'm taking UCLA plus 5. I'm the UConn can't cover anybody guy. I got to stick to my guns. UCLA plus 5.
Yeah, and who stole the segment on ESPN?
Some dude I've never seen before.
There we go.
The male Aaron Dolan. I don't know.
Oh yeah, they have a hot one that's doing gambling stuff.
It's a dude, and he's not hot.
A hot dude, a hot dude, hot dude throwing picks. That's us next. That's why we go to the gym or something like that. Next and last game on our list, Texas Tech, a pick'em to Alabama. A little bit more juice on the Tech side. Total is 165. Hofstra might have been my most painful bet of the first round, and gotta say, getting the best number on breaking drug charge news and then seeing LeBaron Philon literally just shove his fist down my throat and rip out my organs was not really how I was expecting to spend my day. And Texas Tech, they did some things. What do we got on that one? Texas Tech, a pick 'em, and 165 is the total.
So both of these offenses are playing at such a high clip. I mean, Petty has been amazing for Texas Tech. You got Atwell. You obviously have Anderson. I mean, the shooting has been absolutely unbelievable. And then if you still need a bucket inside, you can go to Lawan Watts. On the other end, Alabama, I mean, Cheryl and Bull Bowen are making are raining threes at this point. Seeing Aiden Cheryl, 6'11", what does he go, 260, just stroking corner jumpers, it's nothing.
Yeah, he was doing more stroking than Big East Ben on a national karaoke stage.
Oh yeah, that's my song. Clarence Carter. So also I looked at those two defenses. I mean, Akron seemed to when they did it. Akron had about 6 or 7 turnovers where they just threw the ball right to Texas Tech. It was an unforced error, like in tennis. Besides those empty possessions, I thought they scored really easily. I thought Hofstra and Cruz Davis were really scoring easily. So I don't think any of these defenses are interested in playing physical, staying in front of their guy, closing out. I'm going to go over 168.
65. 165.
165. Yeah.
Marquette 84. What do you got?
Very brief. I'll go with the stay out of trouble Texas Tech team over that Bama team.
Yeah, a man of the law. That makes a little more sense to me. The total feels really small to me at 165, I got to say. I don't know why it's this low. Texas Tech is going to launch threes. Alabama's exactly going to do the same thing. I think I like Texas Tech to win this game. I picked them in my brackets, of course, and feel like Alabama, there's a lot of questions, but they survived the loss of Aiden Holloway pretty substantially, I guess, but that was a really close game for a while. Hofstra, to me, wanted to play that exact style, which maybe was like a good thing, but also we saw Northern Iowa struggle with a team that wants to play the exact style too, just ones that better than you at it. So maybe if you're a weaker team, you really just want from a smaller conference, you want to be completely opposite of what you're playing against. I think 165 is the easier number to hit than the winner of this game, so I'll go over 165 and certainly have a lean to Texas Tech. So now it is time for our best bets. Marquette 84, can you remind me your best bet from yesterday?
That was the Michigan State.
and they were a winner. Yeah.
No, they played now.
Today.
Oh, sorry. That's right. I'm losing track of my days. Well, that's going on right now. So I guess we're still undefeated. Marquette 84. Do you want to lead us off?
No, can you come back to me?
Yes, I can. Big East Ben, you are 3-1 to start your NCAA tournament best bets. Unfortunately, one game behind the pace of your perfect NCAA tournament season. I think that was 2 seasons ago. Um, what do you got? Where are you going? What's your favorite on this list?
So if you remember in the tournament last year, Ben McCollum coach Drake team goes into the first round, pretty much controls the game from start to finish against Missouri, moves on to the next round and gets absolutely curb stomped by a much more physical, bigger Texas Tech team. The same exact thing happens to Mr. McCollum this year. I'm going Florida -10.
That is a Florida Gators -10 pick from Big East Ben. Market 84, do you still want to go or do you want, is it my turn?
No, you go.
All right. For my best bet, the real one scored you Warner. We were undefeated entering into Saturday. 4-0 start on our best bets to begin this college basketball season, trying to keep that streak alive. Well, it's dead now, but we're going to come back to it and start a new one. So on this Sunday card, I'm going with the game I expected that we were going to have, though one team struggled a lot more to get here than the other. And I'm pretty okay with seeing a 6 seed favored to a 3. So I'll go Tennessee and their creamsicle pants that makes all of us hungry, I guess, at this hour. I'll go Tennessee -1 against Virginia in the second round. Marquette 84, do you want to do it later?
Yeah. No, I got it. Thank you. I'm going to go with that senior backcourt, Purdue. All right. So that's my best bet, Purdue, and give up those, what is it, 7.5? What?
7.5. 7.5 points.
Yeah.
And that does it for this episode of the Need for Speed's College Basketball Podcast. We've been literally recording every second of every day this week. Big East Ben in multiple locations. It's been a good ride. We do have plans to come back to you, and hopefully we have 2 more winners to celebrate. We're rooting for Michigan State for Big East Ben, a double best bet with his pops. And, hopefully they both have the same amount of hair tomorrow. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Big East Ben radio show, the Need for Speed's College Basketball Podcast, presented to you by, I don't know what we're presented by. Nobody. Bye.